Bernie H, first in a live stream, followed by Big Ray, Sensei Domino. Alright, got 3 people in here so far. Bernie H, Big Ray, Bernie, Big Ray, Sensei Domino, Bernie, and Big Ray. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. That's right, thummies up, thummies up, thummies up for me. Get this up here real quick. Oh yes, let me do something while we're waiting for people to get in. What time's it? So I started right at 2, so at 2:05 we will end the early birds. Okay, got that ready. Let's see if I can go here real quick and get my link for my ICHIRO auction tonight. Let's see if I can get this switched really quick while we got about 2 minutes. If I can get my slow computers to operate quicker. And we are at 973, so we only need 27 more entries to have our drawing. Then we'll be done with the month of May, and then we'll wait till June to start all over again. We'll start off at the beginning of a month after we do the drawing. Okay, and we almost have enough people in here. 973 entries, 27 more to go. Come on, WhattNot. That off right now. Put that away. Maybe, maybe not. God is great in the house. How you doing there, Titus? Thanks for popping in here, brother. Okay, my computer's not cooperating with me. We're getting close. 2:04, 2:05. I'll end it. It's not letting me switch tabs. Oh, maybe not. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe, maybe, maybe not. Okay, still 2:04. It's trying to open up the WhattNot tab so I can get my link for my. And I'll just pop it in there. What you can do is you could go in, bookmark it, so you get notified when I go live at 6 p.m. I'm going to do my show today on YouTube, and then at 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. I'll be running an ICHIRO sale. In case anyone's interested, we will have fun for sure, just like we've been having for a couple of weeks now. Alright, so we'll do in the early birds, and we do have a on this day in baseball, and for today, Tuesday, May 14th, we will be doing a trivia today. So we will be doing a trivia. So let me get ready to log people in as my computer's trying to catch up to me. Okay, so again, we did have at 2 o'clock, we had Bernie was in here. Bernie's in here with his entry for today. Big Ray was here for his entry for today. Bernie, Big Ray, Sensei Domino's in here for their entry today. Bernie, Big Ray, God is great's in the house. Ooh, we're almost there. Almost there. Let me click on shows. I'm triple tasking here. God is great, Big Ray, Bernie, God is great. Dragon Fan Tim is still not here, but we'll get him in here. There we go. So I got everybody. This is who I got. Let me know if I missed you. I've got Bernie H. I've got Big Ray. I've got Dragon Fan Tim, who's not here. We've got God is Great Titus from the Land of the Rising Sun. And we've got Sensei Domino. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That makes us 22 entries away from filling it. If we don't fill it today, we should fill it tomorrow. Okay. Okay. It is still, let's see. I'm going to see if it'll get it to switch really quick before I get into the biography for Hall of Fame Biography episode 234, Satchel Paige, with On This Day in Baseball and Baseball Trivia ×1. We got one trivia today. It will be a 5-pointer, in case you're wondering. Alright, getting close here. Getting close. So that takes care of everything there. So for now, let me do an update on the live chat there. Okay, nobody's chatting in there, so I think we're good to go there. So as my computer is still thinking, yeah, our Monday trivia today is just on this day in baseball, so it's not a trivia, and we will have Tuesday's trivia today, right after On This Day in Baseball. So for Monday, yesterday, May 13th, 2024, the baseball birthdays were Barry Zito, Dusty Rhodes, Jose Rijo, and Johnny Roseboro. There you go, Big Ray. All right. So, on this day, on May 13th, 1976, George Brett lashed out at least 3 hits for a 6th consecutive game. The Royals won 5 of 6 on their way to winning their first division crown. Brett's torrid 18 for 26 streak gave him a .692 mark for 6 games on his way to a .333 average and a batting title. So that was in lieu of our trivia for today. Right? So next up, we do have team history coming up next. Okay. And again, the trivia will be worth 5 points. Let's see. I think that might be in there. So let me go back to YouTube. Let me go back to YouTube really quick here. And see if I can post this link in the chat. Oh, did we not get it? Oh my word. Guess I have to update this. Oh, that's right. That was not up there yet. So I will be with you momentarily while we're waiting for our computer to catch up again. Our trivia for today is team history. So for Tuesday, May the 14th, 2024, the baseball birthdays for today are Tony Perez, Earl Combs, Ed Walsh, and Roy Halladay. Okay? Team history trivia for the day. How many games out of first place did the 1965 Yankees finish? How many games out of first place did the 1965 Yankees finish? Was it A, 5 games? Was it B, 11 games? Was it C, 25 games? Or was it D, 28 games? Go ahead and give your answers now. Whoever gets it correct first will get the 5 entries for the end of month, or the filling of the Wheel of Names wheel. to 1,000 names, which we are 22 away. All right, Bernie H. got that one. Oh, I like that since they down. May the 13th, 1952 was also the day Ron Nessii struck out 27 batters in a Class D game, becoming the first and only pitcher to do so in professional baseball history. So Bernie H., you got that trivia. The answer was the question was, how many games out of first place did the 1965 Yankees finish? And it was C, 25 games. Okay, come on. Let's see. Okay, let me get that one going so we can still try and catch up with my computer here. After winning 5 consecutive pennants and 2 World Series between 1960 and 1964, the Yankees began a post-Empire tumble, averaging an anemic 3.8 runs per game. They won 77 and lost 85, and were looking up at 5 teams ahead of them in the standings. In fact, they finished 10 games behind 5th place Cleveland. The Twins won the pennant easily with 102 wins and 60 loss mark. So there you go, Bernie. You got that one. Let me add those entries into your score tab here. Alright, so Bernie's got the 5 entries. We'll be back at the end of the show for the 2-minute warning to see who gets that extra inning or the extra entry at the end of the round. Okay? So, that's still thinking here. So let me get this switched over. Right? And get that up so I can see what I'm doing here. Update the live stream on this computer. And update it on this computer. Again, we will be doing Satchel Paige. So for today, I'll give you a little recap. We are going to do, this week, we're going to do Satchel Paige, followed by Jim Palmer tomorrow, followed by, and these are cards that I have for the ones, Herb Pennock. Okay, and then our last one for this week will be Tony Perez. So those are the 4 Hall of Famers we're going to do this week. But we are going to do Satchel Paige. And while I'm waiting for my computer to load up yet again, I don't know why, Leroy Robert Page, commonly known as Satchel Paige, Negro Leagues, 1926 to 1947. Cleveland in the American League, 1948 to 49. St. Louis, the American League, 1951 to 1953. And Kansas City in the American League in 1965. Page was one of the greatest stars to play in the Negro baseball leagues. Thrilled millions of people and won hundreds of games, struck out 21 major leaguers in an exhibition game, helped pitch the Cleveland Indians to the 1948 pennant in his first big league year at age 42. And his pitching was a legend among major league hitters. I don't know why my computer is running so slow. I'm going to have to see if I can figure out what's going on here. Remove some apps maybe that I'm not using. Alright. Hopefully everybody had a wonderful weekend. my computers are cooperating with me yet again today. I need a computer expert cleaner upper. Oh, wait, here we go. Here we go. That one's coming back at least. Okay. I'll wait. Got no choice but to wait. What was funny about that the Yankees' attendance was 1.2 million, but the Mets, who finished 50 and 112, had 1.7 million fans to go to the games. May 13th, 1958 was also the day Musial hit his 3,000th hit. May 13th, 1955, first time one of the greatest major leaguers hit home runs from both sides of the plate, the late, great Mickey Mantle. The 1950s were loaded with great milestones on May 13th. That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. All right, so let's get into Satchel Paige here now. Satchel Paige, Leroy Robert Satchel Paige, born July 7th, 1906, and passed away on June 8th, 1982. Was an American professional baseball pitcher who played in the Negro Leagues Baseball and Major League Baseball. His career spanned 5 decades and culminated with his induction into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. A right-handed pitcher, Paige first played for the semi-professional Mobile Tigers. From 1924 to 1925, he began his professional baseball career in 1926 with the Chattanooga Black Lookouts of the Negro Southern League and became one of the most famous and successful players from the Negro Leagues. On town tour across the United States, Paige would sometimes have their infielders sit down behind him and then routinely strike out the side. At the age of 42, in 1948, Paige made his debut for the Cleveland Indians. To this day, this makes him the oldest debutant in the National League or American League history. Additionally, Paige was 59 years old when he played his last major league game, which is also a record that stands to this day. Paige was the first black pitcher to play in the American League and was the 7th black player to play in Major League Baseball. Also in 1948, Paige became the first player who had played in the Negro Leagues to pitch in the World Series. The Indians won the series that year. He played with the St. Louis Browns from 1951 to 1953, representing the team in the All-Star Game in 1952 and 1953. He played his last professional game on June 21st, 1966 for the Peninsula Grays of the Carolina League, 2 weeks shy of 60. In 1971, Paige became the first electee of the Negro League Committee to be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. As far as his date of birth, while Satchel Paige was playing baseball, many ages and birth dates were reported, ranging from 1900 to 1908. Paige himself was the source of many of these dates. His actual birth date, July 7, 1906, was determined in 1948 when the Cleveland Indians owner Bill Veeck traveled to Mobile, Alabama, and accompanied the Paige's family to the county health department to obtain his birth certificate. Paige's birth certificate is displayed in his autobiography. In 1959, Paige's mother told a reporter that he was 55 rather than 53, saying she knew this because she wrote it down in her Bible. Paige wrote his autobiography, Seems like Mom's Bible would know, but she ain't ever shown me the Bible. Anyway, she was in her 90s when she told the reporter that, and something she tended to forget things. As far as early life, Paige was born Leroy Robert Paige to John Paige, a gardener, and Lula Paige Nee Coleman, a domestic worker, in a section of Mobile, Alabama known as Goofy computer. Okay. My computer is acting so goofy. Paige was born Leroy Robert Paige to John Paige, a gardener, and Lula Paige, a domestic worker in a section of Mobile, Alabama known as Down the Bay. Lula and her grandchildren changed the spelling of their names from Paige to Paige, from Paige, P-A-G-E, to P-A-I-G-E, in the mid-20s, just before the start of Satchel's baseball career, Lula said. Paige looked too much like a page in a book, whereas Paige, P-A-I-G-E, explained, my folks started out by spelling their name Paige and later struck in the I to make themselves sound more high-tone. The introduction of the new spelling coincided with the death of Paige's father and may have suggested a desire for a new start. According to Paige, his nickname originated from childhood work toting bags in the train station. He said he was not making enough money at a dime a bag, so he used a pole and rope to pull a contraption that allowed him to cart up to 4 bags at once. Another kid supposedly yelled, "You look like a walking satchel tree." A different story was told by boyhood friend and neighbor Wilbur Hines, who said he gave Paige the nickname after he was caught trying to steal a bag. At the age of 10, Paige was playing top ball, which was what got him into baseball. Top ball was a kids' game that used sticks and bottle caps instead of baseballs and bats to play a variation of the diamond sport. Satchel's mother, Lula, would even comment on how Paige would rather play baseball than eat. It was always baseball, baseball. On July 24, 1918, just 17 days after his 12th birthday, Paige was sentenced to 6 years or until his 18th birthday, whichever came first, at the Alabama Reform School for Juvenile Negro Lawbreakers in Mount Meigs, Alabama, owing to his truancy in school along with his tendency to steal. The person who taught Paige to pitch while in reform school was Reverend Moses Davis. It was Davis, who was also a trustee of the school, who devoted the long hours coaching the boys in baseball. And it was he who struck the deal with the sporting goods store in Montgomery to secure the team's first uniforms. Davis was African American, as was the entire teaching staff at Mount Meigs, including the school's founder, Cornelia Brown, a graduate of Tuskegee Institute. Paige was released to the institution in December 1923, 7 months short of his 18th birthday. He summed up his career of incarceration. I traded 5 years of freedom to learn how to pitch. At least I started my real learning on the Mount, where they were not wasted years at all. It made a real man out of me. After his release, Paige played for several baseball teams. The fans started booing him, so he decided that somebody was going to have to be showed up for that. He called his outfielders in and had them sit down in the infield, with the fans and their own teammates howling. Paige struck out the final batter, winning the game. As far as the Negro Leagues, Chattanooga and Birmingham. In 1926 and 1929, a former friend from Alabama, Alex Herman, was the player manager for the Chattanooga White Sox of the minor Negro Southern League. In 1926, discovered Paige and offered to pay him $250 a month, of which Paige would collect $50, with the rest going to his mother. He also agreed to pay Lulu Paige a $200 advance, and she agreed to the contract. The local newspapers, the Chattanooga News and Chattanooga Times, recognized from the beginning that Paige was special. In April 1926, shortly after his arrival, he recorded 9 strikeouts over 6 innings against the Atlanta Blackcrackers. Partway through the 1927 season, Paige's contract was sold to the Birmingham Black Barons of the Major Negro League, NNL, according to Paige's first memoir. His contract was for $450 a month, but in his second, he said it was for $275. Pitching for the Black Barons, Paige threw hard but was wild and awkward. In his first big game in late June 1927 against the St. Louis Stars, Paige incited a brawl when his fastball hit the hand of St. Louis catcher Mitchell Murray. Murray then charged the mound and Paige raced for the dugout. But Murray flung his bat and struck Paige above the hip. The police were summoned, and the headline of the Birmingham Reporter proclaimed a near riot. Paige improved and matured as a pitcher with help from his teammates, Sam Streeter and Harry Salmon, and his manager Bill Gatewood. He finished the 1927 season 7-1 with 69 strikeouts and 26 walks in 89 1/3 innings. As far as when he played for Cuba, Baltimore, and Cleveland in 1929 to 1931, Abel Linares offered Paige $100 per game to play winter ball for the Santa Clara team in the Cuban League. Gambling on baseball games in Cuba was such a huge pastime that players were not allowed to drink alcohol, so they could stay ready to play. Paige, homesick for carousing and hating the food, despising the contrast inspections, and not being thoroughly baffled by the language, went 6-5 in Cuba. He left Cuba abruptly before the end of the season, with several stories told about the circumstances. Paige told one version in which the mayor of a small hamlet asked him in Spanish if he had intentionally lost a particular game. Paige, not understanding a word the man said, nodded and smiled, thinking the man was fawning over him, and then had to flee from the furious mayor. Another version, told by Paige, says that when he called on an attractive local girl at her home, she and her family interpreted his attentions as an official engagement and sent the police to enforce it, leading Paige to flee the island with police in pursuit. A third version, told by the general manager of the Santa Clara Leopards, says that he left Cuba in haste after legal charges were brought against him regarding an amorous incident with a young lady from the provincial Maluto Borgosi. When Paige returned to the United States, he and Jackson revived their practice of renting him out to various teams. In the spring of 1930, Jackson leased him to the Baltimore Black Sox, who had won the 1929 American League Negro League championship led by the bow-legged third baseman Judge Boojum Wilson. Paige, as a Southerner, found that he was an outsider on the Black Sox, and the team considered him a hick. Moreover, he was the team's number 2 pitcher behind Lyman Yokley, and Paige did not like being overshadowed. In midsummer, Paige returned to Birmingham, where he pitched well the rest of the summer, going 7-4. In September, he was leased to the Chicago American Giants of the NLL for a home series with the Houston Black Buffaloes of the Texas-Oklahoma League. Paige won one and lost one in the same series, and then returned to Birmingham. By the spring of 1931, the Depression was taking its toll on the Negro Leagues, and the Black Barons had temporarily disbanded. Few teams could afford Paige, but Tom Wilson, who was moving the Nashville Elite Giants to Cleveland as the Cleveland Cubs, thought he could. Playing in the same city as a white major league team, Paige recalled, "I'd looked over at the Cleveland Indian Stadium, called League Park. All season long it burned me, playing there in the shadow of the stadium. It didn't hurt my pitching, but it sure didn't do me any good either." Pittsburgh, California, and North Dakota in 1931 to 36. In June 1931, the Crawford Color Giants, an independent owned by Pittsburgh underworld figure Gus Greeny, made Paige an offer of $250 a month. On August the 6th, Paige made his Crawford debut against their hometown rivals, the Homestead Grays. Entering the game in the 4th inning, Paige held the Grays to scoreless and had 6 strikeouts and no walks in 5 innings of relief work to get the win. Okay, let me get a sip of water here real quick and pop in the chat. Crossover Paranormal Society's in the house. How you doing there, Jonathan? I'm taking a bad hopper in the infield. In September, Paige joined the Negro All-Star team organized by Tom Wilson, called the Philadelphia Giants, to play in the California Winter League. This was the first time of 9 winters that he played in a league that provided ongoing competition between elite black and white baseball players, including major and minor league players. On October 24th, Paige won his first California game 8-1, allowing 5 hits and striking out 11, including Babe Herman 4 times. He finished the winter with a 6-0 record and 70 strikeouts in 58 innings. In 1932, Greeny signed Josh Gibson, Oscar Charleston, and Ted Double Duty Radcliffe away from Cumberland Posey's Homestead Grays to assemble one of the best baseball clubs in history. Paige took the mound when the Crawfords opened the season on April 30th in their newly built stadium, Greenlee Field, the first completely black-owned stadium in the country. Paige lost the opener to the New York Yankees in a pitching duel with Jesse Mountain Hubbard, but he got even with them by beating them twice that season, including Paige's first Negro League no-hitter in July. Paige went 10-4, allowing 3.19 earned runs per game and striking out 92 in 132 2/3 innings. In the midst of the Depression, Posey's new East-West League had collapsed by mid-season, and Greenlee was able to obtain many of the players in black baseball. By the end of the season, Greenlee had signed contracts for Cool Papa Bell, John Henry Russell, Leroy Maddock, Jake Stevens, Boojum Wilson, Jimmy Crutchfield, Ted Page, Judy Johnson, and Rap Dixon, with the Crawfords playing 5 future Hall of Fame Famers, many Negro League historians regarded the 30s Crawfords as the greatest team in Negro League history. The next season, Greeny organized a new Negro National League, which survived for 16 years. The 1934 season was perhaps the best of Paige's career, as he went 14-2 in league games while allowing 2.16 runs per game, recording 144 strikeouts and giving up only 26 walks. On July 4th, Paige threw his second no-hitter, this time against the Homestead Grays, and he struck out 17. All right, give me a second. Whew. A little bit more yard work in the back there, and I think I got some pollen in my eyes. The Bismarck, sometimes known as the Bismarck Churchills today, a $400 in late model car for just 1 month's work. It was Paige's first experience playing with an integrated team in the United States. He helped Bismarck beat the local rivals in Jamestown, who were also featuring a Negro League ace pitcher, Barney Brown. Paige was unapologetic when he returned to Pittsburgh in September to help the Crawfords win the second half championship. Paige was snubbed by other Negro League players and fans when he was not selected for the first ever East-West All-Star game. The 1934 season was perhaps the best of Paige's career. He went 14-2 in league games while allowing 2.16 runs per game, recording 144 strikeouts and giving up only 26 walks. On July 4th, Paige threw his second no-hitter, this time against the Homestead Grays. He struck out 17 and only first inning walk to future Hall of Famer Buck Leonard, and an error in the fourth inning, preventing it from being a perfect game. Leonard, unnerved by the rising swoop of the ball, repeatedly asked the umpire to check the ball for scuffing. When the umpire removed one ball from play, Paige hollered, "You may as well throw 'em all out, 'cause they're all gonna jump like that." Paige received his first East-West All-Star Game selection in 1934. Playing for the East, Paige came during the sixth inning with a man on second and the score 0-0 and proceeded to strike out Alec Radcliffe and retire Turkey Stearns and Mule Suttles on soft fly balls. The East scored 1 run in the top of the 8th, and Paige held the West scoreless the rest of the way, giving him his first All-Star Game victory. 27 years after the second ever East-West All-Star Game. Paige was also the winning pitcher of the 1961 East-West game to last in the series. Another sip of water here. Dragon Fan Tim. In the spring of 1935, Greenlee refused Paige's request to raise his $250 a month salary, so Paige decided to return to Bismarck for the same $400 per month and late model used car that he got before. In September, Paige could not return to the NNL because he was banned from the league for the 1935 season for jumping to the Bismarck team. J.L. Wilkinson, owner of the independent Kansas City Monarchs, signed Paige on a game-by-game basis through the end of the season. That winter, a Northern California promoter, Johnny Burton, hired Paige to front a team called the Satchel Paige All-Stars. in a game to be held on February 7th, 1965. In Oakland against an all-star squad, a white all-star squad. The opposing team included a number of major league players out of the Bay Area, including Ernie Lombardi, Augie Galen, Cookie Navighetto, and Gus Sir, as well as Pacific Coast League star Joe DiMaggio, who was making his stop as a minor leaguer before joining the New York Yankees. Other than Negro League catcher Ebel Brooks, Paige's team was comprised of local semi-pro players. Despite the imbalance in talent, Paige kept the game to a 1-1 tie through 9 innings, striking out 12 and giving up 1 run on 3 hits. In the bottom of the 10th inning, he struck out 2 more, then gave up a single to Dick Bartell, bringing up DiMaggio. Bartell stole second on the first pitch and went to third on a wild pitch. DiMaggio then hit a hard hopper to the mound that Paige deflected. DiMaggio beat the second baseman's throw to drive in the winning run. A Yankee scout watching the game wired the club that day a report that read, "DiMaggio, everything we'd hoped he'd be. Hit Satch 1 for 4. So in 1936, Paige returned to Pittsburgh, where Greenlee acquainted to Paige's salary demands and gave him a $600 per month contract, by the highest in the Negro Leagues, in games for which complete box scores are available. Paige went 5-0, allowed 3.21 runs per game, and struck out 47 and 47 2/3 innings. At the end of the season, Tom Wilson arranged with the other NNL owners to assemble an all-star team that would enter the lucrative Denver Post tournament. The team included Paige, Josh Gibson, Cool Papa Bell, Leroy Matlock, and Buck Leonard, Felton Snow, Bill Wright, and Sammy Hughes. As far as the Dominican Republic in 1937, in the spring of 1937, the Crawfords were training in New Orleans, and Paige was approached by Dr. Jose Enrique Ibar, Dean of the University of Santo Domingo. The deputy out of the Dominican Republic National Congress and director of the Los Dragones, a baseball team operated by Rafael Trujillo, dictator of the Dominican Republic, Ibar hired Paige to act as an agent for Trujillo. In recruiting other Negro League players to play for Los Dragones, Ibar gave Paige $30,000 to hire as many players as he could. Paige recruited 5 of his Crawford's teammates: Cool Papa Bell, Leroy Matlock, Sam Bankhead, and Harry Williams. Paige and the other players returning from the Dominican Republic faced a Negro League ban for jumping their teams. In response, they formed a barnstorming team called Trujillo's All-Stars, which later known as the Satchel Paige All-Stars. Wilkinson evaded the ban by having promoter Ray Dean schedule games between the All-Stars and the House of David. In August, the All-Stars won the Denver Post tournament in late September, and Paige faced a team of Negro League All-Stars at the Polo Grounds. Despite striking out 8 and allowing only 2 runs, he lost when the opposing pitcher, Johnny Schoolboy Taylor, tossed a no-hitter. A week later, a rematch was held at New York Stadium, and this time Paige beat Tyler handily. In Mexico in 1938. In 1938, Greeny, who still held Paige's NNL contract, again made an unsuccessful attempt to sign Paige. Greinke then sold his contract to the Newark Eagles for $5,000, but they could not sign him either. Paige instead went to play for the Mexican League. As far as the Kansas City Travelers, in 1939, with his arm injured, Paige suddenly found himself unemployable. He looked for work as a manager or coach, but was unsuccessful. One ball club owner was willing to give him a chance to play ball again. J.L. Wilkinson of the Monarchs. Wilkinson offered him the modest opportunity to play, not for the Negro American League Monarchs, but for a second-string barnstorming team called the Travelers, which was known and renamed the Satchel Paige All-Stars. Paige would pitch when he could and play first base when he could not. As far as Puerto Rico in 1939 and 40, in just one season, Paige left his mark in Puerto Rican baseball. He arrived in Puerto Rico. The team featured the shortstop Perchuo Cepeda and outfielder Tetelo Vargas. The Guayama Witch Doctors were the 1938-39 champions. In September of 1939, they had won the Semi-Pro Baseball World Series in Puerto Rico against the Duncan Cemeteers. On November 5th, Paige pitched a shutout against the Centucre, which featured player-manager Josh Gibson by a lopsided score of 23-0. All right, give me a second here. I gotta get some smudges off my eyeballs here. Don't mind me. Hopefully you guys are having a good start to your week again this Tuesday. Oh, much better. Much better. All right, because of Paige's strong gate appeal, there was considerable demand by outside teams to lease Paige's services to pitch for a single game. With infrequent league games, Wilkinson booked Paige to pitch for small-town teams or other Negro League teams at rates ranging from a third of the total receipts to a fixed fee of $250 to $2,000 per game, plus expenses. Wilkinson purchased a Douglas DC-3 airplane just to ferry Paige around to these outside appearances. Because of the larger gate when Paige pitched, the Monarchs owners could also insist on a larger share of their receipts from their road games. Wilkinson and Paige each kept a share of the fees. By the early 1940s, Paige's estimated annual earnings were $40,000, which is four times the payout over because of the larger gate when Paige pitched. The Monarchs owners could also insist on a larger share of the receipts from their road games. Wilkinson and Paige each kept a share of the fees. Come on, computer. By the early 1940s, Paige's estimated annual earnings were $40,000, which was four times the pay of the average player on a major league New York Yankees and nearly matched the pay of their top star, Joe DiMaggio. Hoping for some publicity for Paige, who received relatively little coverage while pitching in the hinterlands with the Travelers, Wilkinson arranged for Paige to pitch on opening day of the 1941 New York Black Yankees, appearing in front of a crowd of 20,000 fans at Yankee Stadium. Paige pitched a complete 5-3 game victory, striking out 8 as intended. The contest brought considerable coverage from both the black and white media, including a pictorial by Life magazine. Paige took over the role of ace pitcher for the Monarchs, while Hilton Smith, their former ace, dropped to number 2 pitcher and sometimes was relegated to relieving Paige. Because of Paige's ability to draw a crowd, he would often be scheduled to start a game and pitch for 3 innings, with Smith or another teammate assigned to pitch on the last 6. In addition to Smith, Paige's teammates included first baseman Buck O'Neill, shortstop manager Newt Allen, and center fielder Willard Brown. On August the 1st, 1941, Paige made his first appearance in the East-West All-Star Game in 5 years, collecting 305,311 votes, 40,000 more than the next highest player, Buck Leonard. Paige entered the game at the start of the 8th inning with the East leading 8-1 and pitched the last 2 innings. Only hit he gave up was a slow roller to the NNL's new starting catcher, the Baltimore Elite Giants' Roy Campanella. As far as 1943 and 1946, Paige was the West's starting pitcher in the 1943 East-West All-Star Game, played before a record 51,723 fans in Comiskey Park. He pitched 3 scoreless innings without giving up a hit or striking out 4, and was credited as the winning pitcher for the West's 2-1 victory. As a batter, he hit a double to lead off the bottom of the 3rd, then was lifted for a pinch runner to some thunderous applause. All right. In 1946, the World Series, the Monarchs faced the Newark Eagles in the 1946 World Series. The first game was played in the Polo Grounds, and Hilton Smith started for the Monarchs. The Monarchs held a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the 6th when Smith walked Larry Doby to lead off the inning and Paige was called to do relief. Paige struck out Monty Irvin and Lenny Pearson, but Doby stole second and Paige gave up a single to Johnny Davis, which tied the game. In the top of the 7th, the Monarchs got the lead back when Paige hit a single, advanced to second on an error, and scored on a hit by Herb Sewell. Paige shut down the Eagle for the rest of the game, striking out and allowing 4 hits over 4 innings, and was credited with the win. 2 days later, Paige came into the second game entering the bottom of the 7th after allowing 2 runs. Heck. Oh, there we go. Now you go. What the? Sorry. Hold on a second, guys. Kansas City won the 5th game and Newark won the 6th. For the deciding Game 7, Paige was missing Buck O'Neill. Paige was meeting with Bob Feller about their upcoming barnstorming tour. With Ford pitching, the Monarchs lost 3-2 and the Eagles claimed the championship. For his barnstorming with Feller in 1946 and 47 and late 1946, Bob Feller organized the barnstorming tour to use airplanes to travel from site to site. His tour has been described as the most ambitious baseball undertaking since John McGraw and Charles Comiskey dreamed up the round-the-world junket in 1913. For his team, Feller recruited all-stars from both Major League as his main component. He asked Paige to hear a team of Negro League all-stars. As far as the Cleveland Indians, on July 7th, 1948, the Cleveland Indians owner Bill Veeck brought Paige in to try out with the Indians player coach Lou Bordeaux. On that same day, his 42nd birthday, Paige signed his first major league contract for $40,000 for 3 months remaining in the season. Paige got his first big league victory on July 15, 1948, the night after he pitched an exhibition game against the Brooklyn Dodgers in front of 65,000 people in Cleveland's Municipal Stadium. It came at Philadelphia's Schreiber Park. The Indians were up 5-3 and the bases were loaded in the 6th inning of the second game of a doubleheader. He got Eddie Juice to fly out to end the inning, but gave up 2 runs the next inning when Ferris Fein doubled and Hank Majeski hit a home run. Paige buckled down and gave up only 1 more hit the rest of the game, getting 5 of the next 6 outs by fly balls. As far as the St. Louis Browns, penniless, Paige turned to his barnstorming days after being released from the Indians. When Veeck bought an 80% interest in the St. Louis Browns, he soon signed Paige in his first game back to the major leagues on July 18, 1951. He ended the season with a 3-4 record and a 4.79 ERA. Hiatus from the major leagues. Paige once again returned to the barnstorming days. Then on August the 14th, 1955, Paige signed a contract with Greensboro Patriots of the Carolina League. Veeck once again came to Paige's rescue when after taking control of the Phillies' AAA team, the Miami Marlins of the International League. He signed Paige to a contract for $15,000 and a percentage of the gate. Paige finished the 11-4 with an ERA of 1.86 with 79 strikeouts and only 28 walks. This time, when Veeck left the team, Paige was allowed to stay on for 2 more years. Okay, get a drink of water here real quick. I forgot Paige's biography was such a long one. So, in 1965, the Kansas City Athletics owner Charles O'Finley signed Paige at 59 at the time for 1 game on September 25th against the Boston Red Sox. Finley invited several Negro League veterans, including Cool Papa Bell, to be introduced before the game. Paige was in the bullpen, sitting on the rocking chair, being served coffee by a nurse between innings. He started the game by getting Jim Gosker out on a pop foul. The next man, Dalton Jones, reached first and went to second on an infield error, but was thrown out trying to reach third on a pitch in the dirt. Carl Yastrzemski doubled, and Tony Congliaro hit a fly ball to end the inning. The next 6 batters went down in order, including a strikeout, Bill Montague. In the 4th inning, Paige took the mound to be removed according to plan by Haywood Sullivan. He walked off to a standing ovation from the small crowd of 9,289. As far as the end, in 1966, Paige continued to tour the country pitching exhibition games. On June 19, 1966, Paige took the mound for the Carolina League Peninsula Grays against the Greensboro Yankees. In a 3-inning exhibition stint, not allowing a hit, the Grays general manager Marshall Fox decided to let the near 60-year-old legend pitch in a real game, which Satchel did 2 days later, drawing a much larger than usual crowd of 3,118 to a war memorial stadium against facing Greensboro. Paige started the game and pitched 2 innings, allowing 2 runs on 5 hits before giving way to scheduled starter and future big leaguer Steve Mangori. Unfortunately for future historians, the Grays used backup catcher Bruce Lowe that night, and not their regular man behind the plate, an 18-year-old kid named Johnny Bench. As far as his pitching style, the spectacle of watching Paige pitch was made all the more entertaining by the expansive pitching repertoire he developed over the years. In his early years, Paige was known as a pure fastball pitcher. He experimented with releasing pitches from a variety of arm lengths at that time, something he would build upon later as he added more pitches to the mix. In 1933, while he was playing in integrated baseball, Bismarck, North Dakota, Bismarck Tribune reported that Paige used a tricky delayed delivery with very effectiveness, something that would later become known as Paige's infamous hesitation pitch. As far as his post-playing career, after the 1957 season, Paige went to the Mexican state of Durango to appear in a United Artists movie, The Wonderful Country, starring Robert Mitchum and Julie London. Paige played Sergeant Toby Sutton, a hard-bitten cavalry sergeant of the Buffalo Soldiers. In late 1960, Paige began collaborating with David Lippman on his autobiography, which was published by Doubleday in April of 1962 and ran to 3 printings. As far as his personal life, on October 26, 1934, Paige married longtime girlfriend Janet Howard. They separated in a few years. They separated a few years later, and she served Paige with divorce papers while he was walking onto the field during a game at Wrigley Field. At his court date on August 4, 1943, Paige's divorce was finalized with him paying a one-time payment of $1,500 plus Howard's $300 attorney's fees. Paige married Lucy Maria Figueroa during his playing time in Puerto Rico in 1940, but because he was not divorced from his wife, the marriage to Figueroa was not legal. In 1946 or 47, Paige married Lahoma Jean Brown. Paige and Lahoma had 7 children together. Lahoma also had a daughter from an earlier marriage. As far as his death, Paige died of a heart attack after a power failure at his home in Kansas City on June 8, 1982. He is buried in Page Island in the Forest Hill Calvary Cemetery in Kansas City. As far as his legacy, in 2010, sports writer Joe Posnanski, writing to Sports Illustrated, named Paige as the hardest thrower in the history of baseball. He based this in part on the fact that Joe DiMaggio would say that Paige was the best he ever faced. Bob Feller would say that Paige was the best he ever saw. Hack Wilson would say that the ball looked like a marble when it crossed the plate. Dizzy Dean would say that Paige's fastball made his own look like a changeup. Posnanski first noted that for most of his career. As far as Hall of Famer Charlie Gehringer, who faced Paige at the peak of his career, I never hit against anybody better. In an article in Esquire magazine of 1976, sports writer Harry Stein published an article called The All-Time Stars Argument Starter, a list of 5 ethnic baseball teams Paige from the Chicago-based Destination Freedom radio anthology series was broadcast by station WMAQ on May 15, 1948. There you have it. Satchel Paige's biography. We'll go over his Hall of Fame induction stats here next before we wrap up for the day, okay? Listening in the background. Oh, that's no problem. No problem. All right. Again, Satchel Paige was a pitcher, born July 7th, 1906 in Mobile, Alabama, in the United States. Died June 8th, 1982 at the age of 75. He batted right through right his professional debut with the Negro Leagues in 1927 for the Birmingham Black Barons. For the American League and National League, July 9, 1948 for the Cleveland Indians. His last MLB appearance was September 25, 1965 for the Kansas City Athletics. And then the win-loss record for during his career was 124 wins, 82 losses. His earned run average 2.73, strikeouts 1,501. His Negro Leagues, it's an incomplete, but what they have listed here is Birmingham Black Barons 1927 to 30, Cleveland Cubs 1931, Pittsburgh Crawfords 1933, 34, and 36, Kansas City Monarchs 1940 through 41, New York Black Yankees 41, Kansas City Monarchs 42. So yeah. And the Kansas City Monarchs 1944 through 1947. Memphis Red Sox in 1943. Major League Baseball, the Cleveland Indians 48 through 49, St. Louis Browns 51 to 53, Kansas City Athletics 1965. As far as his career highlights and awards, 2 times MLB All-Star 1952 and 53, 6 times Negro League All-Star 1933, 34, 36, 41 to 43, World Series champion 1948. Negro World Series champion 1942, Cleveland Indians Hall of Fame, and the oldest Major League Baseball player in history. He's a member of the National Baseball Hall of Fame, inducted in 1971. The election method was the Negro Leagues Committee. There we go. Satchel Paige's Hall of Fame biography. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me put that over here. We'll do some of his baseball cards that I've got here. And then we'll get ready to wrap things up for the day. Okay. Let me get the few cards I've got in my Satchel Paige collection. We've got the Calgon chip here, the violet and mint chips, the Calgon set of a Satchel Paige there. Okay. Oh wait, no, these go this way. Then we've got the Leroy Satchel Paige. It's one of those redemption type cards you could send in for something back in the day. 1941 Satchel Paige. Upper Deck. The Hall of Fame Heroes Satchel Paige for the Browns. 1983 Don Russ. Then we've got this is the one I love. I like these here. So this one here is a 2013 Panini. This is the base card, and then the next one next to it is my sparkly card. That's the short print version. I believe it's serial numbered. No, not this one. Not that one. Alright, then we've got a Donruss Diamond King from 2019, I believe. Yep, 2019. This is the other Hall of Fame set, the 2012 Panini. This one's the 2012 Panini. Then we got a Topps Fire Satchel Paige. This one is 2018. Then we got the Ted Williams Negro League Satchel Paige. '93 Ted Williams set. Then we got the Action Pack Satchel Paige. This one is 1993. And the last one we have in his little set here is the Baseball Great Swell card from, oh man, I can't even see these. 1990. 1990. So that's my little Satchel Paige card set there so far in my Hall of Fame collection. I will put that over here. Alright, tomorrow again we'll be doing Jim Palmer. Got a few cards by Jim Palmer there. So we'll be doing that next. And other than that, we just got to do the 2-minute warning, then I'll get a little break before my 6 o'clock auction tonight. Okay? So, let me get this here. Come on. Finally, it took you a while to get there. Right? We got 3:15 start, that end of stream, 2-minute warning. So at 3:17 we'll end this, and then I'll log everybody in. We'll see how close we're getting. Alright? I'm thinking maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Hopefully you guys are having a good Tuesday. It's been fun being with you here again today. As we go through all the Baseball Hall of Famers and the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Again, tomorrow will be Jim Palmer. And we are going to have a unique Fairfield Friday for sure tonight. My other items did arrive. Alright. What do we got? We got Bernie H. We got cards in my card with R. Posada. So far. As soon as my computer says 270, so we got 2 people so far. Everyone have a good day. Be done, might be my final ICHIRO auction. I haven't been done too good on my ICHIRO auctions. Then Thursday will be Cal Ripken Jr. And then Friday will be Ken Griffey Jr. Part 4. pretty sure it's part 4, from what I remember. Alright, I think we're good. We've got Bernie, cards in my car. Bernie and cards in my car are here. So Bernie, you get another entry. And cards in my car gets an entry. So what do we got? We got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We got 17. Will put us at 990. I think we're probably going to make it tomorrow. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the day. This has been fun. It's been real. And as always, it's not just words, but be blessed. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? I didn't even put that up there, did I? I don't know. Let me see if it's still there. I almost forgot about that. And here I waited till the very end. There we go. You can click on that link there if you want. That will bring you to my that was so silly, Blomdahl. You had it all set up and you forgot to do it. There you go, I pinned it. I don't know if it'll show up in the replay or not if somebody watches it. But there's the link, www.WhattNot.com. That'll be my live auction tonight for ICHIRO. Okay? So other than that, y'all take care. This has been Don Blomdahl, Hall of Fame Veterans, Sports Card and more, with our Hall of Fame biography for Satchel Paige 234 on this day in baseball and baseball trivia. Till tomorrow, y'all have a great day, and maybe we'll see you tonight from 6 to 9 on my WhattNot sale auction. Until then, y'all take care. Have a wonderful and blessed day, and we will see you all tomorrow. It's not just words, but be blessed. Y'all take care. We'll see you around the channels. Bye for now.